Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, July 24, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a time for change call tonight at a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be real interesting for many. Picture for a moment that we have, to say the majority of us on this planet, know clearly, comprehend clearly, that everything we see is the result of our thoughts. And there is absolutely no exception to this whatsoever. What do you think would happen? What do you think or feel or believe would take place? Where would we be? Right? Would we be witnessing what we're witnessing right now? Or would we be witnessing something entirely different? Because when we set an intention knowingly through our heart-mind, that intention materializes. And on top of it, it's been proven over and over again. Well, how has it been proven? Well, anywhere you look, doesn't matter where it is. You could be looking at a tree. You could be looking in a corner where there's just space. Right? Particles appear. How can that be? Well, we are all part of the collective consciousness. Collective consciousness creates all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. Right? That means it creates planetary systems, solar systems, universes, galaxies, pulsars, you name it. Gaseous anomalies keep going and going and going. It's kind of like our tapestry, so to speak. And we're all creating. So we come into these physical bodies, we call them human bodies. And we don't know any of that stuff. And we're like an open, like I said, an open vessel, right? An empty hard drive. Let's put it that way. Most of us know what a hard drive is on a computer. So we're going to be programmed. And the hard drive takes on the data so that we can look at the hard drive as our subconscious mind, where the subconscious mind records everything. Everything that we've experienced in this lifetime to date, and all other lifetimes. This is why there are situations where you are somewhere doing something, right? And it feels like it dawns on you that something is very familiar. I believe we've all been there at least, well, let's just say dozens of times in this lifetime. Can't quite put your finger on it, but you're saying, wait a minute here, this is weird, strange. You might be with someone and they say, what do you mean? Well, what I'm doing, it's usually not your surroundings, it's usually what you're doing, okay? That switches it, that turns the switch. And you say to whoever, you say, well, this is very familiar for me, and I don't know why. And they say, what do you mean? Well, you say, I've done this before. I know I've done this before. It's absolute, 100%. I've done this before. Well, maybe it's just that your surroundings and stuff, and it kind of reminds you of something. No, I've done this before. This is where we have like, we don't know it, but we have like, it kind of bubbles through at times in past lives, and so that means that's why we're familiar, and we just feel it, that we know we've done this before, whatever it may be. The frustrating part is that you don't. Wouldn't it be nice if you can, which is coming, which will happen, but right now you can't just go into your library and open up a hutch with books and just pick out, this is life number 49, and so I'm going to pick this volume out. No, okay, here it is. I was doing this, and that's why this is familiar with this. Wouldn't that be great? It's kind of like your own grand reference library. Okay. Now, taking that and putting it aside for a minute, the majority of people on this planet are not aware and do not comprehend yet that they are God and the body. So to speak, we're God and the body. And it's called many names: soul, higher self, spirit. I mean, there's so many names for it. You could go on and on and on. Some of them we've never heard of. But pure consciousness is the vanilla label for it. Okay? We, on this planet, call it God, and there's other species that call it God. But that's the other half of this. When we discover, it's the beginning, it's actually the primer to all the rest of it. When we decide to go within and we begin to explore ourselves. And we're gentle, kind, generous, and humble with ourselves at all times. So we're not ridiculing ourselves, cutting ourselves down, belittling ourselves, or feeling guilty or depressed or worried or stressed or fearful. Because we're looking at things about ourselves and forgiving and surrendering and letting go. And then we come into the understanding that we can actually watch. We can leave our ego mind alone and watch it, see, and learn from it. And we learn from it by how it operates. You imagine you're sitting there watching your ego mind operate. Now, how can you do that? You do it through meditation. Like we do in this meditation in the quiet time, after the guided words, I say these words and these different subjects, and you gravitate to what you desire to focus on in your meditation in the quiet time. When you start to understand and comprehend that, hey, wait a minute, I can see that. I can watch my ego mind, what it's doing. Now, you know it's an illusion, see. That isn't even a question for you. And you're watching it, and you're seeing how you can get excited and then let down, how you can get attached, super attached, okay? There's attachment, and then there's super attachment. Attachment is you can let it go. It's okay. It's not going to disturb you big time. So that's kind of a light attachment. It's not a big deal. Super attachment is, man, you would have to literally pry it from your lifeless hands. That's super attachment. So and there's a lot of people on this planet that have that right now. So, but when you begin to understand that, okay, everything's temporary, so none of this stuff's coming with me when I leave this body. So doesn't it make sense that I enjoy it while I am in this body and manifest what I desire and enjoy it? It makes sense to just all of us, right? Without the guilt and saying you don't deserve it. And it's another thing. We deserve the best of everything. Every one of us do. Emphatically so. We deserve the best of everything. There's no way ever that in our travels as gods throughout the universes, throughout existence and beyond, it's up to us to determine our stay in whatever form we choose. How do we desire or want it to be for ourselves? Without all that other stuff, see, all that programming interferes with us. It interferes. Most of us don't know it. I mean, you could be going along in this life, skipping along, and something comes in. It could be a divorce. It could be a relationship breakup. It's usually emotional, or a loss of something, anything that you were super attached to, and it just devastates you. Or how you were influenced by older people, okay? And what happened during that time when you were being parented, and the emotionality of it, it's deep within you that you have taken with you through this life, which has influenced you in many different ways where you would, wow, I see why now I am this way. I see why I'm now this way. It's because of this. So you see, what we're doing is we're discovering things that we have suppressed for a very long time. And in order to be at peace within, which we always are, but to find that peace within, this is the process to it. And remember, we're not in a race. So you could take however long you wish. You could just be focused on one thing and clear it up with yourself. We take this life way too seriously. We don't have enough fun. We end up manifesting things that we don't want most of the time. Not all the time, but I think we all would agree that we manifest things that we don't want mostly. Lives on a generic basis, not the most wonderful that we would want it to be. We would like it to be. Now, one might say, well, you're describing utopia or Shangri-La, and then no one's going to learn then. No one's going to learn about life then. Oh, yes, we will. But it's in a different atmosphere. Do we always have to experience pain and suffering? No. We never have to, because it's how we choose and how we're programmed. You don't have to experience pain and suffering, emotional disturbance and wrenching and pulling. That's the ego mind influences us to materialize it. That's what we do. And the frustrating thing is that we really don't know that we materialize it. And so we think it's coming from somewhere out there, and it's happening to us, not for us. So we kind of sit around, and then, like, when you're looking at your ego mind all this time, you're watching it. This is what I'm describing. It's the ego mind's activities. So then you begin to realize that, wait a minute, so I get insecure because the ego mind is very insecure, and the ego mind controls me. Yes, absolutely, bingo. So when I look at my ego mind, I know it's an illusion, but I also know it's very powerful, because that illusion is embedded in all of us for a very, very, very long time. Why do we get upset? Because the ego mind is in charge. If you were in the heart mind, would you get upset? No. No reason to. No matter what's going on around you, you have no reason to be upset. The only thing that instigates us to get upset, whatever it may be, whatever the primer is for us to get upset, is what? It's the ego mind. It's highly insecure. It wants what it wants, period. Not what you want. It wants what it wants all the time. Someone could start out with $100 and end up with $1 million, and then the next thing you know, they want $1 billion, and then the next thing you know, they want $1 trillion. Why is that? Because the ego mind's never satisfied. See, when we can start correlating, not blaming, okay, it's not blaming, it's identifying the fact that, okay, so my ego mind, as I watch it, operates this way, always has. So it makes a lot of sense to me. When I look at things and review things in my life on how I've responded, I now understand what instigates that response. It's my ego mind. Now, the heart mind's kind of like way on the back burner. Do we ever go into it inadvertently? Yeah, we do. We'll float into it and feel wonderful. Comes out of nowhere. It's just wonderful feeling. And it's totally different, opposite of the ego mind. Okay? And in fact, the heart mind is much more powerful than the ego mind. So it would make sense that we practice being in the heart mind, because eventually the heart mind then rules over the ego mind. The ego mind becomes a wonderful servant for us. And then eventually the whole purpose of this is that eventually the ego mind, it discovers peace for itself, contentment, and then it no longer is there. Now, have any of us on this planet 100% done that? Have we left the ego mind and mastered it through the heart mind, and then it no longer exists? And have we mastered our thoughts? Because when you do this, you're totally free. You have no stresses, worries, fears, or all that mind chatter that we all get. He says a lot of us will go to bed at night, or whenever we go to bed. Some people go to bed in the morning and sleep till night, whatever. But when we go to bed, many of us, it's not easy to sleep. Why is that? And it's become more so of late. Why is it for so many of us where we cannot fold into rest? Well, none of us are exempt from this. We have all of this, we call it noise, right? Mind chatter. And it's incessant. It's all the time. It's like the mind is constantly conjuring things and thoughts coming in. And you get to the point where you know those aren't your thoughts. When you say, I'm not going to engage in that. I don't care to engage in that. I engaged in the thought like that at one time, and I really didn't like how it came out. So I'm not going to do that this time. It's like the ego mind will try to entice you to get upset about something or do something, right, toward another because of, they talked about you, or they did this or they did that. And it's a very strong pull. It pulls on you. And you can actually step in that muck and get, revengeful or become combative and that type of thing. That's all ego mind. And it pulls us into that soup. This is all about you discovering really, truly who and what you are. Which then, what does that do? Well, that lends us New Earth and all of these phenomenal technologies and writing things on the planet. Things haven't been righted on the planet in a very, very, very long time. And I believe that a lot of us know that. It's not a blame game. We just know that there are things, we feel it. This planet is in imbalance. It's out of kilter. It's out of kilter. Too many abuses and things that have happened. It's so different. Let's put it this way. You're a God in a body. This planet has a God in its body. So it feels things. Not much different. It's just the vessel's different, that's all. The God that enters this planet decided to see what it was like to be a planet. And on the other hand, we want to see what it's like to be human in these bodies, material, physical. And in a way, the God within Earth's, whatever one, Earth has dozens of names, but you want to know what that feels like. You want to experience it. So you become a God within the planet. And I think that we can comprehend that because its size is insignificant. It's about what we're experiencing. And we have these abilities, all of us do, that have been dormant for a very long time because of the ego mind's control over us. We have, let's put it this way, super spiritual abilities. We can do things. Now, some of us have discovered that, but unfortunately, they hide. They hide. Why is that? Why do they hide? Why would you hide? Let's say that you could fly. Oh, no, you need a rudder, you need this, you need that. No, let's say you could fly. You just all of a sudden discover you can fly. Okay? Let's say you fall off of a one-story building and you start flying. Now, it sets in, right? At first, you're blown away. At first, you better pinch yourself, think, I'm not dreaming, I can't be dreaming, but you want to make sure you're not dreaming. So you find out you're not dreaming. So you've got some close friends. And you start contemplating, say, I wonder if I should say anything to any of them. Well, what do we first do? We worry about how people are going to respond to us, right? Isn't that what we do? It doesn't have to be extensive. It could be light. But across the scale, all of us at times worry about what other people say about us, or think about us, or feel about us. It's like, as you're growing up, did you love someone who didn't love you? Did you have a girlfriend or boyfriend that you loved, but they didn't love you? And you knew it. You knew it. You felt it. And then the insecurity of the ego mind comes out, and so you're constantly asking for approval and praises and support from the one, right, that you love, that you know doesn't love you. Not in that way, okay? And so you're constantly asking, how do I look, and what do you think of this? You see what I mean? When it has no bearing on any of us. Zero. That's just ego mind. So you can fly. What are you going to do with that? Well, you could stay under the radar, fly low, and, like at night or something, bundle up. Or you could fly up past the space station. Well, the oxygen's thin up there. But say that you would need really much oxygen because of the ability to fly. Or any at all. Now, one might say, we're really getting far-fetched here. No, because you know what? There are those on this planet that have discovered they can fly. Now, they stay under the wire because of what reason? Because the baddies aren't all gone. And whenever you express your ability, right, you don't know who's watching, who's listening, or whatever. And who's they? The darkness wants to use those abilities in their favor. So you hide. It's unfortunate, but you hide. And then some of those who have discovered their abilities are taken, okay, by the darkness. And so, and then experience things, so on and so forth. Now, to some it sounds far-fetched, but this has been an ongoing thing on this planet for a very long time. Most of us suppress it. Most of us are programmed to believe a certain way about ourselves, and that's it. And we do that lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. But how I look at it is that, being a black sheep's a good thing. It is. It's not a bad thing. What is a black sheep? Well, independent thinkers, self-governing, responsible for their lives, creative, way off the charts creative-wise, period, constantly creating, and questioning things, and knowing their power. No hesitation knowing their power. No doubt, no fear. Total confidence, trust, and faith, 100% in who and what they are in this universe. This is heart-minded. Is ego love? Or is heart-minded love? You choose which one. I think everybody on this call and this meditation today knows which one. I mean, we have so much that is stored with the gods that we are. And all we got to do is just push a button, there it is. Thing is, where's the buttons? And if we find the buttons, or when we find them, are we ready to push them? All of our possibilities are in the unknown, but the majority of us are afraid to go in the unknown because the ego mind doesn't feel secure doing that because it wants to know beforehand. This is why so many of us don't go in the unknown. We kind of sidestep it. You're going to go into that forest and you have no idea what's in there. You could be eaten alive, or you could discover another world. See what I mean? How many of us would walk into that forest? Happily. Like you would, like I've said so many times, you get in that boat, right? And the current takes the boat. You're not going up against the current. Boat's kind of like a gondola, right? Or canoe. You just lean back. You got a nice lounge, and you're just eased into the body, and it's just wherever it goes, it goes. Ego mind is fighting. It's fighting the current, fighting it. What is the current? What's its representation? Life. Life is the current. How many of us fight it? A lot of us do, instead of embracing it. We get seduced by the material physical. It's not a negative. It's a comprehension. We understand. We comprehend it. We comprehend that fact that we get seduced by the material physical. On top of it, we fall under the control of the ego mind. Now, the exciting part about it is that we discover what has occurred and why we are where we're at. You say, So I get seduced by the material physical world, not knowing who and what I am, and also being controlled by the ego mind, which wants me to stay in yesterday and tomorrow, where I suffer worry, stress, and fear. Think about that. That's a lot in a nut. It's a lot to say, but it's true. We're all susceptible to it. But knowing is being aware is phenomenal because you begin to comprehend the whole process. And then you unravel it. And then you understand, okay, so I've been programmed certain things. I'm going to forgive all those things. I'm going to let all that stuff go. It's like you ever wander off, you could be brushing your teeth, you could be doing, and then all of a sudden, one thing connects to another thing, and you're way back on a situation, people, whatever, years and years ago. And you say to yourself, I'm not going there. That's all dead and gone. Why would I care to go there? I don't care to go there. And then it just vanishes. But that's the ego mind's attempt to get you to go into yesterday and to get you to go into tomorrow. How many of us are thinking about tomorrow right now? Right in this very moment. Or yesterday. And it's a good way to measure where we're at with the ego mind and ourselves. And we do it through the heart mind. That's the most, we practice being in the heart mind. We just keep practicing it over and over and over again. And we do it through meditation. And that's why there's certain frequencies of high benevolent energy that are emitted during these meditations. And not only that, that walk with you after the meditation. So this is why we've been doing these going on 7 years. Doing these meditations. 365 days a year, going into 7 years. Millions of people listen to them all over the planet. You can't go by the numbers on there because those are fixed like crazy. And then people will record them for themselves and keep a library of them. And then use them when they feel they want to use them. You see, it's a constant commitment to assist this civilization, this species of beings, all with gods within them, to experience a God planet paradise. And that's physical, right? It's physical material, but yet we're learning more and more every day, I'd say every second, on this planet that it's the spiritual and not the physical. The physical is an illusion for us to enjoy. And the spiritual oversees that. If you knew, this question has been used so many times, over and over again. Let's say that you knew that you were going to leave the body at a certain date. You just knew it, okay? It's going to be catastrophic, painful, anything. You were just going to leave the body. How would you feel about that? Number one. And what would you do from that point forward? It's interesting because all of us take the existence in these bodies for granted. Until something really slaps us across the face, dumps ice cold water on us, to give us a moment for pause and reflection to reevaluate how we are doing in this life from the perspective of enjoying it. It's a guarantee that any of us that spend the majority of our time in the material physical with the ego mind as our master are going to have a lot of pain and suffering in this lifetime. A lot of disappointments, a lot of letdowns. That's why. In the heart mind, those of us who decide to be in the heart mind and to discover ourselves and forgive ourselves for whatever it may be we're dragging with us and love ourselves deeply and eternally. And know that all of our happiness, all of our joy, all of our peace, everything is within us. It's like you dive in within the body you come across the God that you are, you embrace the God, and you sit with the God, you communicate with the God forever. Because you've discovered finally who and what you are. Now you're heart-minded. Now you control the ego mind. You direct it. It's a great servant. And you begin to master your thoughts. You see how it begins to come together? Then you get to the point where you can manifest anything you want. Anything. Really. But see, from a benevolent standpoint, and from knowing you're in the heart mind and knowing who and what you are, what you want is going to be a lot different than what you want now. Seriously. It will be. And then you begin to love everyone and everything. Because you see the illusion of separation when you know that we're all one. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. Take an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, focused on your breath rising and falling. Embrace everything in existence. There are billions of different ways to live this life. I invite you to explore what it's like to be you and how deeply you are embracing everything in this existence. This includes everything you think is your past and your future. Welcome every moment of life with an open heart and mind. When you embrace this existence in its totality, it actually means that you're becoming a stronger being. You must choose to be stronger to feel this life more deeply. You will feel the greatest power in this universe when you open up, choose to feel this amazing life fully. Trust in this power of vulnerability. It's an ancient secret passage that will guide you all the way home, which is the God that you are within that body. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night the following morning. We will return here tonight at the TFCC call a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern, and Thursday, July 25, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on outside of you nor inside of you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.